A cool way to think about eating vegetables is kind of like eating exercise. And what I mean by this is that when you're doing exercise, it's actually an acute stress that causes you to build up a lot of resilient systems inside of the body, so that the next time you're faced with a similar stress, you are better able to cope with it. And these include things to neutralize inflammation and other harmful molecules, and simply to produce energy a little bit more efficiently. And in terms of eating vegetables, a lot of the compounds in vegetables that are promoted for being health promoting do kind of the same thing. For example, you may have heard a lot of people talk about the benefits of sulforaphane. And this is something derived from things like broccoli, cauliflower, and broccoli sprouts. And what's interesting is that plants don't actually contain sulforaphane because sulforaphane is a toxic compound. Plants actually contain kind of a neutralized version of sulforaphane called glucoraphanin. And they also contain an enzyme called myrosinase. And through the process of us chewing these vegetables, we actually allow these two chemicals to come in contact and produce sulforaphane. So it is kind of important to remember that plants don't contain sulforaphane because it would actually harm the plant. So when we make sulforaphane inside of our body, we're actually forced to detoxify it. And we have different antioxidants that do so, specifically one called glutathione. And glutathione will also detoxify a lot of other compounds such as heavy metals. So the more glutathione we have in the absence of sulforaphane, the better we will be at detoxifying other harmful compounds like heavy metals and even plastics. And what sulforaphane does is it will actually increase the transcription of a lot of genes related to detoxification. And this is at first to help get rid of the glutathione. However, these effects seem to be somewhat prolonged. Therefore, once we've detoxified the glutathione, we still have a stronger antioxidant defense system. So we're now better able to detoxify things, such as the things I mentioned, like heavy metals. So knowing this, how can we modulate our intake of sulforaphane? Well, the most important thing is not upregulating our antioxidant defense system. It's getting rid of the sulforaphane in the first place. So going around trying to take sulforaphane supplements will probably give us way too much sulforaphane. And remember, this is a mild toxin. And the body only has a finite capacity to upregulate its antioxidant defense system at one time. So a gigantic dose of sulforaphane probably is going to cause a lot more harm than good. And this goes for a lot of other things inside of plants. Additionally, a lot of times people find that they feel much better when they cut out a lot of these foods containing things like sulforaphane and other anti-nutrients in plants. And most of the time, it's because their body simply does not have the capacity to detoxify a lot of these compounds. Or in the case of some of these compounds, there is no detoxification system. So they cause the same harm as something like sulforaphane, but there is no adaptive response. This is why a myriad of people have found a lot of benefits on something like a carnivore diet, because they really aren't getting any benefits of some of the compounds contained in plants. Or the mild benefits that they would get aren't worth it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this decision. And on the other side of the coin, a lot of the reasons people would stop a vegan or vegetarian diet is because the amount of vegetables that they're eating is overdoing their detoxification systems. And even if there is a mild hormetic benefit to it, they're eating too many of these toxins to actually see any of the benefits. And this absolutely is not me telling anyone that they shouldn't be eating vegetables. However, I do think it'd be a good idea to really assess how you feel after eating specific vegetables and see if they're doing more harm than good. And a lot of times, I think we can actually transition from vegetables to fruit because we can get a lot of the micronutrients inside of fruit without a lot of the anti-nutrients that are found in abundance in vegetables, specifically the leaves and the stems. But in small amounts, some of these vegetables, again, could have increases in your antioxidant defense system. And I want to reiterate that it's very individual dependent. So the best thing would be to try different vegetables and see how you respond. If you get any sort of joint pain or digestive distress, or even a mild bit of brain fog, then maybe these aren't the best vegetables for you, or maybe it's not the right time. Or maybe you can try and microdose your vegetables, such as eating like an ounce of broccoli every day. But in all reality, there really is no need or necessity for getting vegetables as long as you're hitting all of your micronutrients. But in a healthy person, eating vegetables can have some small benefits. But in all reality, these benefits kind of are coming from doing something like exercise by acutely impairing some of your detoxification capacity for a long-term adaptation to improve it.